Welcome back to another episode of the Pick and Drive Rugby podcast. It's great to have you with us. I am your host, Mitch Foster, and I'm joined with my co-host...
Ando Anderson.
Hey, Ando. Oh, Ando. How are you today, Ando?
Mate, I'm really good. Had 2 days basically in quarantine at home, not for any bad reasons, but just getting used to this brave new world that we're facing.
It's definitely a different prospect of life at the moment. But thanks for joining us this week. If you're new to the podcast, welcome. If you've been here before, you know who we are, but we're just going to throw you to our normal intro.
We are two diehard rugby fans having a weekly chat about all things Aussie rugby. Real, family-friendly and positive. Get involved.
Oh yeah. So this week we have a pretty cool episode for you. We are going to start off with some spicy news to talk about.
Or basically the changes of what's happening in rugby.
That's it.
Are there any? Maybe there are, maybe there aren't. Let's see what actually happens.
We'll get into it. Then we've got a bit of a fun segment of Rugby Would You Rather. Then we're going to look at our Wallabies teams that we would be picking today based on the 7 rounds of Super Rugby we've seen so far this year. And we're going to look at next week. What are we going to do next week, Ando?
Next week's going to be really fun. Look, Aussie rugby has not had the best time over the last couple of years.
Yep.
But there's one moment since I really started becoming a fan that just warms my heart every time I think about it, which was the defeat of England in the Rugby World Cup in 2015 in England when they went out in the pool stages. And we were a key factor in that kind of just really shameful exit.
Just the demise of
rugby. It was so good. So every time I watch that game, I get happy. So I thought, we need something positive.
Yep.
Why not, we say, everybody, next week we're going to review that game and talk about it. So between now and next week's podcast, can you please go and watch the 2015 World Cup match, Australia versus England, the pool game, and be prepared for the conversation that we are going to be bringing.
Yeah, we'll dive into it. We'll have a look at the highs and the lows of the game, and we will just look at the general scenario of what that ended up meaning for the England team and then the Australian team for the rest of that competition.
Awesome. Well, should we jump on into it with our spicy news update?
Let's get into it.
Moving now to our spicy news. Basically, the big news in Australian rugby this week, Mitch, is the announcement by Rugby Australia on, I believe it was Friday night, the possibility of a domestic Super Rugby competition. So, can you talk to me about what that news was?
Yeah, so if you were listening to the podcast last week, we had a chat about what we thought we'd like to see going forward for the Australian Super Rugby tournament.
And Rugby Australia obviously listened.
Yeah, they were listening. They went with our idea, which is awesome. And they've announced that they are going to go ahead with a domestic competition. They're going to bring in the 4 Super Rugby sides and then also invite in the Western Force for some form of competition. Now, there isn't too many sort of details as of yet what it's going to look like, whether it's how long it's going to last, home and away games, that kind of thing. All we know this far, it's going to be the 4 Super Rugby, Australian Super Rugby sides with the Western Force, and it sounds really cool.
Yeah, they've given a little bit of detail, but... So what they've said so far is it can be a home and away round-robin series beginning on Friday, April the 3rd, which from the time of recording is 2 Fridays away. And it's really interesting to consider the fact that, so what do you think are the reasons why they're putting this out there? Why are they still trying to go ahead considering the social climate that we're in?
Well, I think we as rugby fans need rugby. We need it.
Not even want, need.
Rugby League is still going ahead. AFL as of this afternoon, which is Sunday our time, in Sydney, when we are recording this, they have just announced that they're cancelling.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows where this will go in the future, if this will impact this competition. But as of today, as of now, as of recording, it is going ahead. So it will bring in some needed rugby into the media, into the world, into Australian sporting landscape, and it'll just give the Australian rugby players an excuse to keep playing.
So there's that dynamic too. So you've got obviously the fans that they want to see some rugby, whilst society is going down the drain at the moment.
Yeah.
There's still an opportunity. Sport is a good thing that helps kind of keep people positive and honestly take people's mind away from the negative stuff that's going on.
There's so much of it in the news at the moment.
But I think also you need to look at realistically what's the financial side of this as well.
Yeah.
And it may well be that Rugby Australia is trying to provide some type of product to justify the broadcast deal that they have.
Yeah.
and to make sure that they're actually getting the money from Foxtel that Foxtel have promised them.
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure, I have absolutely no idea about contracts, negotiations, and how that would work, and if a pandemic is reason enough to stop paying money for a sport that you've paid to broadcast.
Yeah, it's an
like
interesting
a Fox
thought.
within their rights to not pay Rugby Australia anymore.
Well,
Or have they
if
already paid?
there's no product, you'd think they were within their rights not to pay. Wouldn't
Yeah, see, I don't know, and so there's this financial or / business element to
Yeah.
it as well, where Rugby Australia or SANZAR are obviously just trying to get a product out there to maintain some type of commercial viability.
Now we've seen some similar competitions announced in the other international domestic tournaments. So New Zealand is talking about introducing some form of similar competition. We don't know what that is looking like as of now. South Africa is also in talks to host their own form of competition. I did read yesterday, I think it was, that New Zealand have introduced some really new strong quarantine laws that will potentially stop the New Zealand competition going ahead.
Okay.
In that they can't have more than 100 people in a facility, an enclosed sporting facility at once.
Okay.
Now, 100 people, I don't know if a rugby game could go ahead with less than 100 people. But
Well, if you think you've got 23 sides, so that's automatically 46, plus minimum coaching staff of 10, like including kind of medical staff of 10 a team, that takes it up to 66. Then you've got the refereeing team, 70. Then you need to add
If
in
not
broadcasting team.
yeah.
And
Exactly.
so you're very easily getting up towards that figure of 100 with essential personnel.
Now, in saying that, New South Wales and Victoria have this afternoon also announced some more stringent laws in regards to quarantine. So who knows if this will affect the Australian competition either.
Yep. So realistically, it's really good. I was very excited on Friday when I read this. Mitch and I were sending messages back and forth saying how correct we were. But
Just priding ourselves on our right judgment.
yeah, for once. We'll see if it happens again. But the reality is I'm not sure if it's going to go ahead.
Yeah.
So it's fair enough planning. Completely understand why SANZAR and Rugby Australia are trying to go ahead with something.
Yep.
Let's see if it gets off the ground.
Now, if it does go ahead, and the Force have been invited into this competition, which they've accepted, so we will see the Force compete.
Mm-hmm.
What's your thoughts around the Western Force? Would you like to see them do really well?
Yeah, just for the fun of it. There'd be so much to talk about if they actually did really well.
Yeah.
I mean, they'd have to be better than a TARS, wouldn't they?
The Tars, maybe the Rebels, they might run them close.
Yeah.
The Reds and the Brumbies, I think, are a bit of a step ahead.
Yeah.
But in saying that, the Western Force have only been playing in the last few years, apart from the NRC, which they have been involved in and did win last year. They have been playing sort of B-grade Asian sides, so who knows?
It'll be interesting to see. I think it would be a really welcome step in just saying to the Western Australian fans that, yeah, we do actually care about you, because they are justifiably, I don't know, angered, jilted. They have very good reason for being disengaged and just
disenfranchised
jaded.
with Rugby Australia in general.
All those kind of negative emotional words, like you just had a bad breakup and just want to lie on the couch eating chocolate, watching rom-coms or something.
Watching
like that.
rugby, and then you can't because your team's not even in the competition.
Exactly. Well, that's enough on that news. Why don't we move ahead to the other kind of piece of news that we were going to cover, which is Friday Night Footy live streams.
Yeah, so rugby.com.au has introduced, as of last Friday, a new segment where they are hosting, I guess you'd say,
Live streaming.
old classic Australian rugby games. Now, this Friday they had the 2011 Reds grand final game against the Crusaders, which was great. Did you catch this one?
No, I've seen the game before,
Yeah.
but I didn't watch it.
Now, I haven't seen this game in a while, and I watched it. I watched bits of it. I didn't watch all of it, but it was great to relive the triumph that was Quade Cooper and
Will Genia in their
Genia.
prime. That's the one where Will Genia makes that crazy break and he runs like 3/4 length of the field, kind of runs out of gas but still gets there.
Yeah, I was watching it on Friday, and I remembered it being so brilliant, but I don't quite remember how brilliant it was until watching it again. And it's great because he does make this break, and I think it's Zach Guilford or Sonny Bill Williams is coming in on the outside to sort of to shut him down.
Yeah.
And he does this little like shimmy with the ball that he's going to offload to Quade Cooper, I think, is on his outside.
Yeah.
So the defender stops and sort of holds off to go for the outside man, and he just does it, and he just takes off again, and he goes the full field and scores. It's brilliant.
Oh, how good. I'll have to watch it again.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's pretty cool that the Rugby Australia are doing that. They're obviously just trying to do whatever they can to enable some type of continuity in the engagement of rugby fans.
I mean, it's good to have access to these old games, because if you don't have KO or Fox Sport, you don't have access to it. So,
and unless it's on YouTube, and even then, it's not meant to be on YouTube.
That's right.
So, and the quality is often pretty low as well.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Well, any other pieces of news, or those are two main points?
I think that's everything for now. So let's jump into the next segment. Hey everybody, just a further update on the status of the Australian domestic rugby competition. Now, we recorded this episode on Sunday night in Sydney, and on Monday morning, Rugby Australia announced that all plans for this new competition have been put on hold until at least the 1st of May. This has been done due to the coronavirus and the new rules and regulations established by the Australian government. Now, while it is disappointing that we won't be getting any further rugby until at least May, I do understand that we need to put the health of our players, coaches, and everyone involved first. Rugby Australia is doing the best they can in this difficult situation, and they will need all of our support going forward. No need to fear though. We will continue to publish content in the coming weeks. We have lots and lots of rugby to discuss and dissect, so please stay tuned. Okay, so for this next segment, we are going to play a little bit of a game of Rugby Would You Rather, where we give two scenarios and we discuss which one we would prefer. So, Ando, I'm going to ask the questions for the first one, and you're going to give me your answers.
Okay, good.
All right, so for this first one, would you rather have your team thoroughly beaten by 40 points or narrowly lose by 3?
Probably the narrowly lose by 3.
Really?
I'm a bit of a hopeless romantic, so there's something in a gallant defeat that I can actually take a positive out of. But just seeing your team get absolutely smashed just makes you really, really grumpy.
Okay. Now for me, I don't like seeing my team get beaten by 40, but at least then I know we weren't good enough.
Yeah, okay.
We deserve to lose.
Mm-hmm.
There has been so many times as an Australian and a New South Wales supporter over the last few years where we've been so close on so many occasions and have just fallen short. So narrowly losing by 3 is the bane of my existence.
See, I just think of it from how much of a pain in the butt am I for the people that I'm around at the time. And I figure if we just get smashed, I just get over it because we sucked and we deserve to lose. Sorry, no, it's the reverse. If we get smashed, I get really frustrated because we're so bad.
We're so bad, yeah.
But if we lose by 3 points, then I can just have that moment of, oh, this sucks, we were so close, and then, but I mean, we were pretty good. I mean, we nearly won. So I have that mental shift for me that happens. So obviously we're different, but yeah, that's how I roll.
Yeah, so for me, case in point comes back to the Wallabies and Wales game at the World Cup last year.
Yep.
Where the Wallabies lost 24-29. Now, I was at this game, and it was an exciting game to be at, but it hurt so much when we lost.
Yeah.
Because we came back so close when Wales got out to such a good lead early on, and then to lose by only 5 points was just, it was just. I mean, I paid all this money to go to Japan, and it was brilliant, and it was such a good experience, but at the same time, yet again, we've come so close and we've lost.
How much of that is about the experience of losing by 3 points, or about the whole World Cup experience that you've taken a part in, though? You know?
Well,
if it wasn't for spending all that money to go to Japan and do all that,
that's true.
Would it have been as painful?
I think being at home and losing is painful for me.
That Wales game, I was actually... Obviously, I want Australia to win, but I'm legitimately 50% Welsh.
Oh, okay.
So when Australia and Wales play, I'm not that bothered.
So you're on the fence until the final whistle goes, and you're like, oh,
my foot's more towards Australia,
okay.
But my mum is full-blooded Welsh.
Okay.
So, and I've spent a lot of time over there. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm not that bothered.
But there's been that many Bledisloe Cup games where we've come so close
that's
and
totally
then
different.
Just lost. Or it hurts even more when we're ahead by a good lead, and then New Zealand just come back and they're close within a few minutes to go, and then they win
in the last 3 minutes of the game. Well, why don't we move on? We'll just get ourselves down in the dumps if we keep talking about
that's
that.
right.
Now, you told me about this segment not too long ago, so I only have one.
Okay.
But I'm hoping that you don't have this as well.
Yep.
Would you rather be squirrel gripped by Joe Marler, or have the ball pilfered from you by Richie McCaw?
Oh.
Yeah, it's hard,
Now,
isn't
this is a hard one. Legally by McCaw?
Well, does he ever?
That's true. That's true.
Did he ever?
I'm gonna have to go with Joe Marler.
You know what? Me too.
You know what? I would probably just laugh. I just laugh it off if I saw him just having a go. But yeah, Richie McCaw comes over the top and steals the ball. Anyone else could have done it, and I would have been fine.
Probably
but if I
entering
just saw,
offside as well.
if I just saw it was McCaw, I'd be filthy. So I'm going with Joe Marler.
All right, good. Me too. Same reasons.
Nice. All right. So second question
From you.
From me. Yeah. Oh, third question overall. Would you rather support a team of mixed international superstars in the vein of Toulon or something like that, or an Australian team with no Wallabies?
Australian team with no Wallabies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yep. Because, I mean, you look at where the kind of under-20 Wallabies from last year have come with the Australian Super Rugby teams this year. So, looking at Alessio, Harrison Bell, Nalangani Tuase, blah, 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 blah.
A few others.
They are all really exciting. And the excitement comes from the fact that you know they're going to get better.
Yep.
So, it basically means that if they have a bad game, if they make a mistake, you're very forgiving.
Yeah.
Because, you know, they're still young. They're 20, they're 21. They're going to make mistakes, but they also do some really brilliant stuff as well. So, yeah, I think I'd go for the Australian team of non-Wallabies.
Cool. Yeah, I think I would go with an Australian team too. But in saying that, it would be cool to see like a Barbarians type team that's got, if we're going off any era, Jonah Lomu with Richie McCaw and Brian Habana. You know, that would be pretty cool. But... yeah, I'm an Australian, so I'll stick with the Australian as well.
Good. All right.
All right. Now, not last, we've got one. Technically, we've got one after this. Would you rather beat a New Zealand team or lose to a domestic rival?
Beat a New Zealand team.
Yeah.
Any time. Anytime you beat a New Zealand team is a good thing because they're basically like the benchmark of quality, really.
I think I might have wrote this down the wrong way.
Really?
Lose to a New Zealand team or beat a domestic rival. I think that's how it should be. We'll scrap that. Would you rather lose to a New Zealand team or beat a domestic rival? Does that make more sense? I don't know.
No, I don't think it does.
It doesn't? All right. Okay, we'll go with the first one.
I just think there's something sweet about beating a New Zealand team. Because they're that good.
Yeah.
They are very good. And the majority of the reason why I dislike them to the core of my being is because they are the pinnacle of quality in Southern Hemisphere rugby and really world rugby.
And it was 2 years ago now, where we went how many weeks without beating a New Zealand team? It was painful.
Yeah.
And the Who just kept going.
It was nearly the entire season, wasn't it?
I think it was. Yeah. Well, it happened mid-season and it went into the next season.
Yep.
So, and I think we didn't beat them in the internationals either. So. Now, this last question, this was suggested by my wife, so I thought I'd ask. I don't necessarily think it's the best one.
Oh, no, don't say that. Get the brownie points for having it in there.
We've got it in here, so we'll see how it goes.
Dangerous territory.
Would you rather win by an incorrect referee decision or lose by a knock-on in goal?
Win by an incorrect referee decision or lose by a knock-on in goal.
Yeah. Now, the only reason I didn't suggest this was because to me, kind of, you would always take a victory by an incorrect decision. Yeah. Wouldn't you?
Personally, I'd take the win because Australian rugby needs a win.
Everyone needs a win at the moment, so...
Yeah, I'd always be going for the win. I think back to the 2015 World Cup versus Scotland. Craig Chabert made a bit of a dodgy decision. That's where I went as well. Hey, we still won.
We took it.
That was a semi-final, wasn't it?
That was a quarterfinal because we played Argentina in the semis and we went on into the final. Yep. So I think, although in saying that, knocking on in goal to lose a game would be horrible.
That would be pretty horrific.
It'd be funny though.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, Connor, sorry, just to cut in. Connor reminds me of the Wallabies game. Sorry, the Waratahs game. Curtly Beale, 2 drop balls in the same passage.
I mean, we weren't in goal, luckily,
before the turnover, and then they score off the resulting play
right at the end.
Yeah. Jeez. Yeah. So I'd definitely be going for a illegitimate win.
Yeah. Cool. All right, that's the end of that segment. So that was a bit of fun, and now we'll get on to the next one.
All right, we're doing our main segment for this week, which is picking of the Wallabies teams. So, basically, our rules were, it is based upon the first 7 rounds of the Super Rugby season. Secondly, if a player is injured but they're expected to be back before the June test, then they are eligible to be picked.
Yep.
And at least for my stats that I'm going to be providing, if I say that, say, a player is 4th in the tackle count, that is for players in their position overall. So just trying to provide a bit of clarity there.
Cool.
So the way that we're going to do it is I'm going to start off. I'm going to talk through my front row, my starting front row. We're going to go through 1 to 23, and we'll go through kind of front row, locks, back row, and then we'll restate who our forward pack are.
Yep.
And then we'll go 9, 10, 12, and then your outside centre and your back 3.
Yep. And then we'll go through reserves.
Restate who the back line are, and then go through reserves after that.
Cool.
Now, we might mention... that's fine. So I'll start off with my front row. So I have number 1, James Slipper.
Nice.
Number 2, Murphy.
Okay.
Number 3, Alan Alatoa. So let me go through those. James Slipper, playing at the Brumbies. He's got an incredible redemption story that we've mentioned in the past. Basically, he had some personal issues and discipline issues up at the Reds, went down to the Brumbies, and has basically had a renaissance or a rebirth down there. His stats aren't incredible. He's not topping the competition in anything. He's 4th in tackles, 2nd in runs, 3rd in run meters, which that's good, but he's not kind of the top player in his particular position. But what he is reliable, and the Brumbies are up there with the Reds as having the strongest pack or scrum, and he's a core part of that unit. He's actually pushed out Scotty Seo from the starting team, and that's really significant. So if you're pushing out the incumbent Wallabies prop, then that's saying something about the form and the way in which your coaches are rating you. So I had him in starting at number 1. Next, Alex Murphy. So last week we weren't that positive towards Alex Murphy.
We weren't.
And then I spent time preparing for this, and I looked through his stats, and it really proves how little I know about the game of rugby, because he is the form hooker of the competition.
Okay.
You look at his stats, and aside from Folau Fainga, who scored a hat-trick one game off the back of rolling mauls, so he's on 5 tries, I'm pretty sure. Apart from him, with his tries scored, Murphy is leading in nearly every category. So he's 2nd in runs, 36, 1st in run meters, 2nd in turnovers, 1st in tackles. He's got 60 tackles as a hooker, and the nearest is 47.
Okay.
The team's line-out percentage is at 87%, which it's good, but it's 7th in the competition. And he's played 543 minutes across 7 games. That is nearly 80 minutes a game. So he's nearly playing a full game every single week.
Yeah.
So I was really, really impressed going through his stats, and I thought, wow, okay, I really need to be paying more attention to him. So that's why he made my hooker.
Yeah, cool.
And then Alan Alatoa, I've got a bit of shuffling elsewhere in my forward pack. So with my front row, aside from Murphy, I'm really just going for experience and consistency.
Yep.
And so Alan Alatoa provides that. The Brumbies have had a really strong scrum, and Tupou actually is better than Alan Alatoa in a bunch of areas. But he's 2nd in runs, equal 2nd in run meters, 1st in tackles. He's got 66 tackles. The nearest is 46 after that. So he's 20 above his nearest competitor playing in the same position. So my front row, Slipper, Murphy, Alan Alatoa.
Lovely.
Over to you.
Well, my front row for my Wallabies 23-man squad. Number 1, tight head prop, James Slipper from the Brumbies.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, hooker, also from the Brumbies, Folau Fainga.
Okay.
And number 3, at tight head, Taniela Tupou from Queensland.
Yeah, okay.
Now, I went with James Slipper, pretty similar to what you said. He's in form at the moment. He's making the runs off with the ball. He's making his tackles. So to me, he's the in-form prop for the Australian Conference at the moment.
Yep.
So that's why I put him in there. Now, I went with Folau Fainga because of his line-out throwing. Now, I couldn't specifically find stats to prove that he was a better line-out thrower.
Can I just speak to that?
Yep.
If anybody out there knows where to find specific line-out percentage stats...
Yeah, particularly for the throwing.
Yeah, particularly for throwing. Not just stats on, like, the percentage of line-out wins, but specific to a player. We couldn't find that information. So if you do know where that exists, please tell us. We would love to know. Sorry, Mitch. Back to you.
Yeah, so I've got Flaufinger because the Brumbies had a higher percentage of line-out victories than the Reds. So to me, and just from what I've seen, I think Flaufinger throws better. He scores all of his tries through the maul as well. So he obviously knows how to do that. That's going to be helpful.
Come on, he just sits at the back of it and then just falls over the line. Isn't that how you do it?
Yeah, but Murphy's not doing it.
Because the Brumbies use the scrum rolling more than they do.
You're right. But I just think he's my pick for a starting.
Yep.
He's also got the experience as well.
Yeah, true.
So Murphy hasn't played for the Wallabies yet. Flaufinger does. Now, Taniela Tupou, I've picked him. Yes, he's a great scrummager.
Yep.
But for his work off the ball.
Yeah, sure.
So his tackle busts, his line breaks, and his offloads. This is the sort of, for my 23-man squad, these are the kind of stats that I'm looking at for my players, because I want the my Wallaby side, to be playing fast, loose rugby.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so that's why I've picked Tupou, because he's immense off the ball. Flaufinger, he's great in the line out, and James Slipper because he's a good scrummager. As all three of them are.
Cool. So we agree with one, and then we've got the two differences there, Hooker and the other prop. So let's move into the locks now. So number 4 and 5. I have chosen Lukan Salakai-Loto and Matt Phillip. Okay. Now, Salakai-Loto, he can play number 6, but he also can play lock.
Yeah, he's been playing lock at the moment.
Yeah, so he's been interchanging a bit. I looked up and tracked through, and he has alternated between.
He's done both, yeah.
But I want him as a number 4 because I don't think his mobility is that good for being a number 6. Okay. Now, he has had an incredible start to the season, so I believe he deserves to be a run-on starter for the Wallabies. Yeah. Look at these stats. First in run meters for a lock, 279. Second in runs. First in line breaks, first in tackle busts, first in offloads, first in penalties conceded. Oops, that's not good. But he's also, he's climbing up the line-out wins stats. So he's equal 10th in line-out wins. Now, that matters because he's increasingly becoming a line-out target.
Yep.
And that matters when you get to my back on.
Okay.
Back row, sorry.
Yep.
Now, Matt Phillip is the other choice. He's got a really strong work rate, doesn't have the same kind of incisiveness or kind of power game that Salakai-Loto does. He's equal 3rd in line-outs one, so he's going to be kind of the line-out general in that team. He's equal 2nd on runs, 4th in run meters, 6th in turnovers, so he's equal 1st. So he does a lot of that dirty work, really strong in close, tight to the ruck kind of thing. And he's had a really good season so far for the Rebels. So those are my lock. That is my lock combination.
Lovely.
Yourself?
I have got at number 4, and this could potentially be a bit controversial, Rob Simmons.
Hey, here we go. All right. Who do you support again?
New South Wales.
Yeah.
All New South Wales through and through. No. Now, I picked Rob Simmons because of his line-out ability.
Yep.
So, as you said, you've gone with Lukan Salakai-Loto. Mm-hmm. I may have gone with Lukan as well. We'll just see somewhere else in the team.
6, sure. Yep.
Okay, yeah, no surprises. I went with Salakai-Loto at number 6. Mm-hmm. I think he's better in the loose than being a number 4.
Sure.
Now, Rob Simmons, he's got the line-out wins. So the New South Wales Waratahs at the moment are actually leading the competition in line-out win percentage.
Yeah, I saw that.
So they're on something on like 96% line-out wins of their own feed. Rob Simmons, he's going to run my line-out. That's why I've got him in there.
Yep.
Now I've also gone with Matt Phillip because he's also making meters off the ball, or with the ball. Mm-hmm. So 36 average run meters per game.
Yep.
I couldn't find the individual line-out percentage that you seem to have for individual players.
That's okay.
So I can't base his lineouts on anything, but for run meters, he's currently sitting number 2 in the competition. He's currently making he's made 221 runs with. He's made 52 runs with the ball so far.
Yep.
And he's made 221 meters. Now,
Yep.
Salakai Loto has made 52 runs as well for 279.
Yep.
But I think that's something we need as a 6, not as a 4.
Okay.
I think Rob Simmons and Matt Phillip would work really well together in the tight.
Mm-hmm.
In the breakdown, they're both really tall. Salakai Loto also is really tall. But I just think the experience as well for Rob Simmons to lead the line out and also just to lead that forward pack around, he is New South Wales captain, is going to be invaluable. So
Okay.
that's who I've gone with.
I completely understand. I mean, there's a part of me that just doesn't want to see Rob Simmons starting for the Wallabies again. Because the poor guy just gets crapped on all the time. It'll just create a whole bunch of rage on different forums. But
who else? Like, you've got Salakai Loto in there.
let's
fair
get
enough.
there. Let's get there.
No, but you've got him in your team as
Yeah.
number 4.
Yeah.
Now we haven't. You've chosen someone else at 6, obviously.
Yeah.
I don't know who else as a second row I would put.
I have some suggestions. Actually, who am I going to talk about later?
No, I've got.
Yeah, okay,
I do
cool.
have.
So, if you think about it, who else in lock? Realistically, you would be thinking someone like Isaac Rodder.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, Isaac Rodder was like the nailed-on kind of lock for the Wallabies last year.
He was.
You look through his stats this year.
He was down the
He's
bottom.
really not performing
No, I
in
wasn't
those
sure.
measurable areas.
I wasn't sure if he was not getting game time because that's once that I
He
didn't look at.
had ankle surgery before the
Yeah.
season started, so I think he wasn't getting much game time for
But
the
he
first couple of
only-
games.
From what I can remember, was it the last game that they played or the game before he came on?
Yep.
And that was like his re-entry into
Yeah, like
Super Rugby.
Harry Hawkins is starting more than Isaac Rodder is.
So I just don't know if he's game fit yet to be selected in the Wallabies,
Yeah,
considering we're
yep.
week 7.
Agreed. And so I was really surprised I wasn't picking Rodder because
Yeah.
we've spoken when we were talking about Matt Phillip leaving for Powell.
Yeah,
We were talking about who's going to be partnering Rodder for the Wallabies.
that's right.
But Rodder isn't keeping his spot.
Simo.
It seems like for you or for me.
Simo.
We'll see. All right. Okay. So for lock, you've got Simmons and Phillip.
Yep.
And I have Salakai Loto and Phillip.
Cool.
Okay. Let's move on to the back row now. So we're going to go across 6, 7, and 8. And I'll just kind of rip the Band-Aid off. I've got Rob Valentini for number 6, Michael Hooper for number 7, and Izzy Nasrani for number 8.
Cool.
Now, for Rob Valentini, I was finding it really hard to choose who to play 6. I really wanted Sakai Loto at number 4, so he wasn't in my equation at all. And I was basically tossing up between Angus Scott-Young from the Reds and Rob Valentini from the Brumbies. So I basically just went off the fact that I've noticed Rob Valentini a lot more in the games that I've been watching.
Yep.
And I've watched all the Reds and Brumbies games. He seems to be around the place more, having more positive impacts from at least my general viewing
Yep.
of the games. He's 3rd in run meter stats. He's equal 4th in runs. He's 1st in missed tackles. And
What a
Angus
stat.
Scott-Young's also really new. Whereas at least Rob Valentini's been around for a couple of years now
Yeah.
and has a lot more Super Rugby experience with the Brumbies. So I picked him.
Cool.
Michael Hooper. This is a bit of a contentious one. A lot of people might be pushing for Liam Wright, and we'll see where you go in a moment. But Liam Wright is definitely trying to kick down the door.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's done enough yet to oust the incumbent number 7 and the previous captain and the potential captain of
Yep.
the Wallabies.
Yeah.
Like, you really have to be a level above to knock out the captain, right?
Yep.
Hooper continues to excel with his work rate in attack and defence. I personally think this is one of those immeasurable things. He seems to have worked on his passing game a bit more.
Okay.
I think he's playing a bit more of that link man role, and he's done some really nice cutout balls on counter attacks to release the wide players for the Waratahs. And so I just really wanted him in the team, basically. 2nd on runs, 1st on run meters, equal 1st on line breaks, 1st on tackle bus, 3rd in tackles. So he's one of the form open sides still. So I just don't think you can replace him without a really, really, really good reason. Then Isi Nasrani. Considering some of the new players in the team, there's really an element of continuity to why I've picked him in the Wallabies. He was the number 8 for the tail end of last season, and I just think he should stay there. Really, who's the other form number 8? Harry Wilson. Now, Harry Wilson is doing really, really well, but he's such a young player that I worry about the consistency. And in only 7 rounds, I'm not confident that he has the ability yet to make an impact on the international scene. And I just think Naisarani has runs on the board.
Yep.
And unless Wilson was able to continue it, if we didn't have this pause, then yeah, I just still think Naisarani's ahead. I did a head-to-head comparison of the two of them, and Wilson comes out a little bit ahead of him in nearly every category. Naisarani is ahead on tackle busts, 20-11. Wilson is ahead on turnovers, 3-8. So he's got 5 more. Handling errors, though. Wilson has 8 handling errors compared to 3.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. Look, there's a bit of it might be the up-tempo game that Reds have been playing, and it just means there's a lot more pressure on the handling from Wilson. But yeah, I just thought Naisarani deserves to keep his spot, and Wilson is an exciting prospect, but let's give him some time playing Super Rugby before we vault him onto the international stage. Over to you.
All right, so I have gone for my back 3. Number 6, Lukan Salakaia-Loto, as I said before.
Yep.
Number 7, Michael Hooper.
Cool.
And number 8, Izzy Naisarani. So
okay, cool.
Apart from our number 6, we've got a pretty similar back line.
Yep.
Back 3, sorry. So Michael Hooper, there's no one else in the game that's doing what he's doing at the moment.
Yep.
Like, his work rate is phenomenal. His tackles, his off the ball runs, he's just like
he never gets injured either.
Exactly. Well,
hardly gets injured.
Liam Wright as well is pushing, but I don't think he's ready at this stage to start. Also, I've got Michael Hooper as my captain for this team as well. Now, Hooper's not the captain of the Waratahs at the moment, but he is trying really hard not to be.
Yeah.
Like, he's talking to the ref more than Simmons is at the moment.
You do see that, don't you?
Yeah. But the refs are also talking to him too, so I don't know who's at fault there. But anyway, so we've got Michael Hooper, we've got Lukan Salakaia-Loto. Now, the reason I've got Lukan at 6 is that he does have the offload game that I like.
Yep.
So he's averaging 1.3 offloads per game. That's an average. At the moment, he's had 9 offloads.
Yep.
So he's leading the competition in offloads.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's the kind of ball runner that I'd like to see in this back 3. Now, I've also got Izzy Naisarani at the back for his on-the-ball presence.
Yeah,
so his turnover game. Michael Hooper does have the ability to go hard for the ball, but he's not playing that at the moment. He's playing wide, and he's being more of a link to the back as you said.
Yep.
So I've got Izzy Naisarani in there because he's a big body. He's got the Fijian flair to be able to get those offloads away, but he's also got the ability to get on the ball and to get those pilfers.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Salakaia-Loto does have that ability as well. He has done it in the past. His stats for this season aren't showing that, but I think that's also something that Queensland is doing. It's
probably a coaching decision.
Yeah, they're not playing on the ball.
Well,
but also,
they're using Wright for that.
If he's playing second row, as he has been on and off, that's not your position. Like, the second row aren't going for the ball pilfers. So I'd like to see him more as a number 6, get a bit of freedom, get a bit of room to move around.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the 3 of them would link up together really well.
Okay, cool. Well, that's fair enough. So can I get you to run through your 1 to 8, please? Just say the names. Okay,
so James Slipper, Folau Fainga, Taniela Tupou, Rob Simmons, Matt Phillip, Lukan Salakaia-Loto, Michael Hooper, and Izzy Naisarani.
And mine was James Slipper, Alex Murphy, Alan Alatoa, Lukan Salakaia-Loto, Matt Phillip, Rob Valentini, Michael Hooper, and Izzy Naisarani.
Awesome.
Okay, let's move on now. And we're going to go to the back line. And I'm going to start with my 9, 10, 12, 13.
Okay.
Okay, and then we're going to do back 3 after that.
Yeah.
So, number 9, Tate McDermott.
Okay.
Number 10, James O'Connor. Number 12, Matt Tamua. 13, Tavita Kurandrani.
Did you copy my notes?
do you literally have the
I
same?
have all of them.
Okay, cool. Well, it's good to know that, so we don't need to kind of go back and forth. Why did you choose Tate McDermott?
Well, I was looking at the options of the number 9s that we currently have. Now, Jake Gordon this season is not been...
He's not in the picture.
He's not started the season as he finished the season last year.
Yeah.
This year. I don't know what's happened, whether the Waratahs are trying something different. It doesn't appear that they are. Or whether he's sweating under the... He's got 2 halfbacks now vying for his spot.
Yep.
He is injured actually at the moment. He hasn't played the last 2 games. But I just don't think that he's on point. Like, he's not making... His passes aren't going They're not pinpoint. They're not going to the breadbasket where they need to
Yep.
be. So I didn't go with him. I then looked at Joe Powell.
So you're looking at reasons.
I'm not looking at reasons not to select them.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at reasons to start them.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I do have Joe Powell as my reserve scrum half,
Okay.
but I just don't think he's right there as our number 9.
So I did some of the stats for Tate McDermott.
Yep.
He is the best attacking scrum half
Yep.
in the Australian competition. So he scored 5 tries. He's equal second in the competition for like out of all players for tries scored.
I didn't
He
see
has
that.
more runs than any other scrum half in the competition. Equal first for line breaks of scrum halves and equal second for tackle busts.
Well, I've got here that he's making 3.1 average runs per game for an average meter made of 18.
Yep. So he's
Average 18
doing
meters made.
he's doing really, really well from the attacking angle. And I just really like the energy that he brings to the
Yeah.
game. And I thought that he pairs really well with James O'Connor at number 10.
That was my second
Yep.
point. With James O'Connor at 10, I think having the Queensland 9 and 10 combination
Yep.
is only going to be a good thing to do.
Cool. So James O'Connor then. We've mentioned him before. I'm really impressed by the way that he runs onto the ball. He's strong enough to take the ball to the line, and he can either run it himself or he's willing to play that kind of flat pass across the face of the defence.
Yep.
He's also pretty experienced at 12. So he can swap out with Tamua. They can just interchange, like
Yep.
you would often see with
Yeah.
Foley and Beale.
Yep.
They'd both step into first receiver at whatever part of the game required it.
Well, Bill at the moment is playing from fullback as well.
Yeah.
He's coming up into not
Yeah.
necessarily first receiver. He's probably playing third receiver, but he's also doing that. Yeah.
So I just think that having him, he can play at 12 as well if needed. He's doing a fair few kicks out of hand too, so that's an option as well. And then for my number 12, I had Tamua, like I mentioned. He brings that defensive intensity in my mind, and he also has a willingness to play a short kicking game. If you look at O'Connor's kicking stats, he has one of the longest kick meters,
Yeah.
which indicates that he's doing clearance kicks or he's doing kicks for territory,
Yeah.
rather than Tamua, who's doing more a tactical kicking game,
Sure.
or a tactical attacking
Yeah.
kicking game. And Tamua is a proven defender. He would probably be the kicker for the team. He's at 71% for his kicks overall, which is actually second to Australian kickers. Harrison is 72%. So... and this is for kickers who have made a certain amount of kicks.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my 10 and 12. Why did you pick Connor and Tamua?
So, similar to what you've said, I like the fact that O'Connor will take on the line.
Mm-hmm.
He's averaging 7.2 runs per game, which is showing that he's not just feeding the back line, he's taking the line on. So he's making those runs and he's making those meters, which is what I want our Wallabies team to be doing.
Yep.
I want them to be running. I also like that, as we've said before, he's moving when he gets the ball. So he's got that line moving as well. There's no stagnant running. They're not flat when they receive the ball. He's forcing that back line to be going forward. Now, I've also got Matt Tamua at 12, mainly because he's going to be our kicker.
Yeah, okay.
He's also got the ability to play potentially 3 positions in that back line. He could move out to 13 if needed.
Yep.
He can play 10 as well. So he's the utility back, but he's also... I mean, he's playing 10 for the Rebels at the moment.
Yep.
But I think having the 9-10 combination from Queensland is going to be more beneficial.
Yep, I agree. 13, Tavita Kurandrani. So I picked him because his runs and run meters. He's first for the runs out of all the centres. Third, run meters at 371 out of all the centres. We know that he has an insane amount of experience at a provincial and an international level.
Yep.
And I think he's required for a team that, look at your 9, 10, 12, they're not big.
Yep.
You need a big physical presence, even if at the very least it's to be a decoy runner. So you remember that Brumby strike play that we talked about last week that was the final play of the game?
Yep.
The reason why they got out wide was because Tavita Kurandrani ran a hard unders line outside of, it was either 10 or 12, might have been Ire Simone. He ran a hard unders line and Newsom goes for him.
Yep.
Newsom bites on that threat because if he gets a short ball, then he's like through.
Yep.
But because Newsom bit on it, basically that drew the whole defense out of line.
Yep.
And you just need somebody that can be that ball running threat,
Yeah.
even if you're not going to use him. Because I actually looked at his stats and he's off the charts low for tackle busts and line breaks.
Yeah.
So he's not actually like getting through the tackles. But I wonder if that's because he's often used as that crash ball runner in heavy traffic.
Yeah.
He's not someone that's kind of going at a soft shoulder of a defending player that's kind of backtracking. He's trying to pin and hold back the defense, get a quick recycle, and then in the next play, the attack is actually coming
He's only
forward.
made 4 offloads this season. So
Yeah, he's never been an offloader.
he's got 7 tackle busts.
Yeah. So I just think that you need him for the power and the strength that he brings, but we just need to be aware that, look, you're not going to be getting offloads, you're not going to be getting massive line breaks from him regularly, although give him the ball on the charge 5-10 metres out from the line, he's likely going to get over for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's my 13. Why do you pick him?
Similar.
Okay.
He's a big ball player. He's a big ball carrier. 371 run meters, 2 line breaks for 7 tackle busts. So he's making the meters, but he's not getting through the line as much as some of the other options for a 12 or a 13.
Mm-hmm.
But he's got the experience.
Agreed.
Now, this is one thing that I was looking at with this team is that there's a fair few fresh faces coming in.
Mm-hmm.
I think for the first season, for the first team of the year, we probably want to stick with a few experienced players, just to ensure that there's a bit of continuity going forward, and then blood some of the new guys.
I agree.
So that's why I picked Vita Kundrani. He's experienced.
Well, why don't we move now to the outside backs?
Cool.
So 11, 14, 15. Wing, fullback.
Yep.
So before we start, what's the difference between a number 11 and a number 14? Is there a different tactical or positional style of play that you expect from an 11 or a 14? I legitimately don't know.
Potentially which side of which foot they can kick off.
Okay.
Maybe. But no, not really. I mean, it's a different tackling side. So if you're better tackling from the left or the right.
Is 11 the
that kind of
left-hand side of the field?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
And 14. But there is also the sweeping one side, and I can't remember which position it typically is, 11 or 14. I'm going to say it's probably 14.
Yep.
Is the sweeper.
Oh, okay.
So they will drop
Yep.
back and come around to support the fullback when the ball's been kicked back.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Whereas the 11 will often stay up with the line
Yep.
and be a harder attacker, and one's like 11's probably a harder attacker, whereas the 14's more of a defending role.
Okay. Well, I chose Marika Korobetti for my 11.
Okay.
And then Andrew Kellaway at 14.
Yep.
And then Dane Helipetty at 15.
Okay. Cool.
So why don't we just hear yours and then we'll track through.
Yep, so I've got Henry Spate at number 11.
Yeah, okay.
I've got Andrew Kellaway at 14, and I've got Dane Hallett-Petty at 15.
Yeah, okay, so it's just Spade or Korobetti. That's the point of difference. I chose Korobetti because I believe that we need size and pace in the back line. I was thinking Henry Spate. He has much better stats than Korobetti.
Yeah.
The thing that I just like about Korobetti is his speed and physicality is more than Spade's.
Yeah.
He's a bigger unit, runs harder, he's stronger. Spade is getting a bit older now. He is slowing down.
Yeah, he is.
He's noticeably slowing down.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, he's still playing really, really well for the
Yeah.
Reds. He's got how many tries? 4 or 5 this season? Yeah, 5. So he's doing really well, but I just chose Korobetti. Now, Andrew Kellaway, look, he scored 7 tries this season. I couldn't really... And he's got a whole bunch of extra stats for runs and run meters. But I just thought you can't keep the top Super Rugby try scorer out of the squad. But he doesn't play enough positions to be a bench player, in my mind. So he's either in the starting team or he's not in the team at all.
Sure.
So I just got him onto the field.
Yeah, cool.
And then 15, Dane Hallett-Petty. He's playing really, really well. 4th in run meters, 5th in runs. He's really reliable, particularly as a kicking option out of hand. Neither Kellaway nor Korobetti kick much.
Yep.
Neither does Spade either for yours.
Yeah.
So you need a fullback that kicks reliably.
Yeah.
And that's Dane Hallett-Petty. I just wondered that if we've got 2 non-kicking wings, if that's a particular issue. So it might well be.
Andrew
from
Kellaway
a tactical
can
point of
kick.
view. He's only kicked
He doesn't
kicked much.
often kick, but he can kick.
Looking at the stats, he'd only kicked a couple of times this season. It
Yeah.
wasn't many. Okay. Do you want to add anything about
Now,
Spate particularly?
I've chosen Spate because of his tackling ability. Now, if you
okay.
look at... I put him up against Marika Korobetti. Now, on average, Henry Spate has got 5.3 tackles per game.
Yep.
In actual stats, Henry Spate has made 37 tackles as a winger.
Yep.
Marika Korobetti has made 20.
Okay.
Now, I'm picking Henry Spate for his defensive ability. That's why I've got him in there, because he's going to make those tackles.
Yeah, okay.
Corabetti as well did cop that yellow card, so he has a tendency to go high.
Yeah, he does actually.
Whether that's the leaguey in him or just because he's quite a big shouldered man, whether he does hit and he bounces, so if that does cause him to rise up, I just think Spate's going to be a more safe bet on the wing.
Okay, cool.
Kellaway as well, finishing ability, and then Dane Haylett-Petty for his ability under the high ball.
Agreed. Okay, well, that's all seeming pretty solid. I'll run through my back line. Tate McDermott, James O'Connor, Matt Tamura at 12, Kurandrani at 13, wingers, Corabetti and Kellaway, fullback, Haylett-Petty.
Cool. I've got Tate McDermott, James O'Connor, Henry Spade at 11, Matt Tamura at 12, Tavita Kurandrani, Andrew Kellaway at 14, and Haylett-Petty at 15.
Awesome. Well, why don't we move to our bench now, and we'll again kind of go front row, then lock/back row cover.
Yep.
What split did you do? Did you do 5-3?
So I've got 5 forwards.
So
and 3
5-3.
backs.
Yeah, okay, cool. I did the same.
Cool.
So I have as my reserve front row Scotty Sio, Folau Fainga, Taniela Tupou.
Okay.
So pretty standard, really.
Yeah.
Scotty Sio playing well. I wanted continuity within a front row.
Okay.
I think front row is really important, and just wanted to make sure that we had experience there. He doesn't have much game time this season because Slipper's form means that he's not in the starting team, but losing your position to the form prop I don't think is necessarily the worst thing in the world if you're still playing well, and he is. For Fainga, he's only played the first few games because he's had a toe injury for the last couple. So I'm assuming he's going to be back. I couldn't find any information about it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's a toe injury. I don't think it would be that bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Although it ended James Haskell's career, so...
I don't know what kind of injury it is.
Neither. Stats. So because he has been out for the last few games, his stats are really skewed. But on average, if you average it out, he's equal to Rangi, who was my kind of next in line to be the hooker.
Yep.
And then Taniela
Yeah, I
Tupou.
kind of thought Rangi, I had a look at him, considered it, but he's just too far down the stats at the moment.
Yeah, but I really like the energy that he brings. You actually watch him playing for the Rebels, and he's just...
Yeah, he's energetic.
He's energetic and enthusiastic, and I want to reward him, you know? Like,
well done, keep going.
Keep going, you're doing a great job, yeah. I just want to kind of cheer him on and say, you got there, mate. And then Taniela Tupou, he's a devastating runner. He's playing 70 minutes a game for the Reds. I understand why you've got him in a starting team. I just want an Alatoa in there because I was thinking he might be the captain for me. Maybe.
Yeah, okay. Now, I also, in saying this, when I originally had my team, I went off like today.
Yeah, sure.
And then I texted you and said, are you selecting players for today or for June?
Yeah.
And then you're like, June. And I was like, oh, I probably should put Alatoa in there then.
Yeah.
Nah, I'll leave him.
But the thing is, Tupou, first in runs, first in run meters, first in line breaks, first in tackle busts, first
Alan
in
can actually
offloads.
play both sides though.
Can he?
Yeah.
Oh, that's really helpful.
Yeah.
Okay, so having him in actually, you know what? We both have him in our team.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you've got him on the bench.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to your reserve front row.
Alright, so my reserve front row. JP Smith from Queensland.
Oh, okay.
Alex Murphy from Queensland.
Yep.
Alan Alatoa from the Brumbies.
Yep.
Now, JP Smith...
Is he eligible?
He is. I looked it up. I looked into it.
Okay.
He and his brother have Ruan. They have been Australian citizens since 2014, I think it was. So they came over from South Africa. They've been in Australia for a long time now, but they've been citizens for a long time too.
Okay.
Now, they were actually... Both of them were selected for the Australian Academy.
Oh, really?
So they must be eligible if they've been in the Academy.
It's weird they haven't actually got into the picture prior to this, because they're pretty good.
Yeah. I don't know where... They've been hanging around the skirts, I guess. I mean, we've had a lot of front rowers for a while. Like, we've had Kepu.
Yeah, true.
We've had... Australia has had that sort of set front row for a while now.
That's true. Our front row's actually been pretty good.
Yeah. So, in saying that, this is the time where these guys come forward. So, I just think he's doing really well.
Yep.
I think he deserves to be in the Wallabies. There he is. Alex Murphy, again... As you said earlier, he's got the stats to prove his worth for being here. I just don't think I'd want him starting.
Okay.
And then Alan Alatoa. I would like to play him, but at the same time, I think Taniela Tupou is going to add more to my team in the way I would like to see them play than Alatoa. So yeah, that's
Okay.
what I've got.
Let's move to our kind of lock and back row cover, so the remaining 2 forwards. Now, I had Rod Simmons as my kind of reserve lock.
So he's there. He's there. Okay.
He's in there. Grudgingly, he's in there.
Okay.
And this one was weird. I had Jack Dempsey as my other back rower.
I forgot about Jack Dempsey, actually.
Now, okay, let me explain this. Rob Simmons, I needed a lock cover. And as you mentioned before, who else do you go for?
Yeah.
Who are the good locks?
Now, Tom Staniforth came. Actually,
Tom Staniforth's doing really well on the stats.
I've selected Tom Staniforth.
Really?
So I've got my 2. We'll go back to your. Sorry, I just thought I'd
just jump in.
Tom Staniforth and Liam Wright are my 2.
Yeah. Okay. Now let me. So Rob Simmons, I just thought that he has done enough over the long term, and he's a reliable option. You know what you're going to get from him, and he brings experience into the squad and as needed. Jack Dempsey, I was trying to think of someone that could play 6 and 8. And
yeah, he can play both.
He can play both of them, and he's doing all right. I mean, having watched all the Waratahs games, I haven't been that impressed with him. But when you look at the stats, he's going all right.
He's also a player that does lift when he's in that gold jersey.
Yeah.
Now his probably not his last game for the Wallabies, but the Bledisloe Cup game the year before 2018.
Yep.
He was the last game they played. He was a massive, and then he got injured. That might have been 2017 actually.
Yeah,
because he then got injured and he was out for a year. So.
Yeah. Well, I've got him in there because I needed versatile back row cover, and I wasn't sure what positions Liam Wright could play.
I think he can play 8.
Can he? Has he played 8?
I've got him there. Playing 8 really isn't that different to 6.
I mean, Eddie Jones and all of his England selections would agree with you, but yeah, I'm not sure.
I mean, you get it if you've got a designated, specialised number 8, like someone Wycliffe Palu comes to mind. I wouldn't see Palu playing 6.
Yeah,
but I don't think like nowadays a number 6 could play number 8.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I can understand that. Okay, so you had it was Liam
Staniforth
and
Liam Wright.
Staniforth. Talk me through Staniforth a lot more. Come on, he's like the Waratahs battler that's journeyed around a whole bunch of different clubs.
Has. But when we look at the teams, we look at the locks that we have in Australia, there was no one else that was really putting their hands up for that selection spot.
Yeah,
now, I've got Rob Simmons up there already. I've got Matt Phillip.
And you had
I don't think
at 6. So
yeah, exactly. So he's in the team as well. I don't think Isaac Rodder is game fit to be in the Wallabies just yet. Maybe he would be pushing for one of the extended playing spots outside the match day 23 because they do name 30.
Yep.
But at the moment, I'd be playing Staniforth over Rodder, and that's why I've got him in there.
Wow. All right, let's move on so we don't drag on. Let's go your reserve backs. I want to hear yours first.
Okay, Joe Powell as my replacement number 9.
Yep.
Marika Korobetti, and then Reece Hodge.
Reece Hodge. Yeah. Forgot he existed.
He's a utility back.
Yeah, but he's been injured for so long. Is he back yet?
He played last week. I'm pretty sure.
Did he?
I think so. I think I saw him.
Either way, I know he's coming back from injury.
With Haylett Petty.
I don't think he's back yet. I don't think he played last week. We'll have to check that. But he's definitely on the return and was back in the picture soon. So he would be available for June.
But he's such a good utility back. Like he could play nearly any line, any position in the back line, probably bar 10 and 9.
Yeah.
I would comfortably put him anywhere in there.
Yep.
And he's got the kicking ability.
Yeah, true. Okay.
And we're playing Ireland.
You had Korobetti.
Yeah.
He's just a dedicated winger.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess you've got Hodge, who's such a utility player.
Exactly.
He can play anywhere. Okay. I had my golden boy, Ryan Warnigan, as the as the reserve scrum half.
Then really?
Yep. I'll go through that.
I don't rate him. Anyway.
You got to watch him more. Tom Banks and Noah Alessio.
Okay. You reckon he's ready?
Yeah, why not? So basically my backs are a little bit Hail Marys here and there. Now, Ryan Warnigan, let's start with him. He is not a running threat anywhere near as much as McDermott. He's a kicking scrum half. And he has kicked double the metres, 15 times to McDermott's 12, despite having played a whole bunch less. He has scored 22 points in only 150 minutes, whereas McDermott has scored 19 points in 373 minutes.
Wow.
So if you look at simple points on the board, then Lonergan is doing so much better, and that is because he is at 100% kick percentage.
100%.
100%. He's had 8
Far
kicks.
out.
He's got all of them. 7 conversions, 1 penalty. So I think that form is something that you just can't ignore.
Yep.
I can understand if you think about it and then still don't choose him. But what did we comment about how New Zealand teams do things to Australian teams in the match? They kick easy penalties.
Yep.
They kind of pip us right at the end of the match. Well, if we're able to just convert penalties that we get anywhere inside basically their half, that changes the way that we can play the game.
Yep.
Kind of from about the 55th minute onwards is normally when a scrum half would swap out.
Yep.
And so that really mattered to me. Tom Banks, back 3 cover, almost deserves a start if Hale Petty wasn't so good and so reliable in the air. He's third on runs, third on run meters overall. Like he pips Dane Hallepetty in a couple of those. And he can play on the wing. So I just think that he's my cover for there. And Noah Alessio, when you've got O'Connor and Tamua, who can both play different positions across the back line, I think we can carry a dedicated fly half on the bench.
Yeah, but do you reckon he's ready?
Yeah, but how
He's
would you
18.
know unless you chuck him in? Come on.
He's
I've
like
gone
18, 19.
for experience nearly everywhere else in the team. So he's my one kind of Hail Mary player.
I'm just reluctant to throw these guys in too early. Now, yes, they're doing well in Super Rugby. They've had 7 games.
Mm-hmm.
They've been tested.
Yep.
I just don't know if putting them into the Wallabies setup too early is going to be too detrimental to their development.
Who are we playing in the June series?
Ireland.
And?
Who knows?
It was meant to be like Samoa, wasn't it?
Oh, you're saying who else are we playing?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were saying like, and that means? No.
No.
I think it's Fiji.
Fiji, thank you. And so I just think like, if we can't beat Fiji at home, I mean, I know we lost them in 2013? The reigning game in Newcastle.
Yeah. No, that was Scotland.
Was that Scotland?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Okay. Anyway, we've lost to Fiji as well. If we can't be beating Fiji at home, I would just be worrying regardless.
Yep.
And so I'd just be acting with confidence, thinking that, I'm going to be picking a player that I believe has the ability to. He has shown really good perseverance, particularly when he's had a couple of bad games, but then has come back really well the following week.
And we've seen him play well behind a dominant pack.
Correct, yeah.
So if we can get good go forward ball and good scrummaging base with this forward pack, then why not?
Just thought I'd give it a go. Who are yours? Oh, you already said yours.
I've said mine.
Yep.
So I'll just run through it quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Powell, Marika Korobetti, and Reece Hodge.
Okay, cool.
Now, going for a similar vein in what you were just saying with Lalesio, I've named 4 players who I think should be in the squad. Not necessarily to play, just to get the experience of being in the national setup
development
and around
players.
the players.
Yep.
Development players.
Yep.
So, I've got 4 of them. Number 1, Noah Lalesio.
Sure.
Number 2, Angus Bell.
Yep.
Ryan Lawrence.
Oh, yeah.
From Melbourne.
Mm-hmm.
And Harry Wilson.
Yeah, cool.
Now, Ryan Lawrence, I nearly selected him as my starting number 9. But then I thought, he hasn't been tested enough yet.
Yeah, okay.
And I put him on the bench, and I still wasn't confident of it.
Yeah, sure.
So I put him in as a development player at this stage.
Mm-hmm.
His stats are really good, but I don't think he's been tested at an international level yet.
Yeah, okay.
And I don't really want to put these guys in and find out that they don't work, especially under what we've come through, where Australian rugby is at the moment.
Yep.
I want our team to come out there and bash Ireland.
Mm-hmm. So that's why okay. Thinking about that and then looking back at your team, it makes sense. You've gone for a lot of really attacking, dominant players that are going to be getting that physicality combined with a fast-paced game. Honestly, it's kind of reminding me of like a checker style, but with a little bit more flair.
Yep.
Okay. With my development players, I had Harrison, Wilson, and Bell. I only chose 3 because I couldn't think of anybody else. I kind of want
Bell,
Harry Wilson. Seriously, having Will Harrison and Harry Wilson next to each other on the list is really frustrating. and then
Yeah,
Angus Bell as well. But I had Nolosio in my team,
Yeah,
so that's
right.
why he's not.
So he's good enough to take that step up. I don't know. If I could select an additional one, maybe.
Yep.
I'd have Harrison in there as well.
Yep.
But, yeah, cool.
Well, basically, that's a bit of fun because in my predictions of what's going to be happening in Australia come June, we're not going to be having an international series.
You don't think we're going to play?
I don't think we're going to. By the time that comes around, it's actually not that far away.
It's not.
You've got April, May. You've got 2 months. And there's probably still going to be the quarantine expectations. And so any team coming from Ireland is going to have to quarantine for 2 weeks upon arrival into the country.
Early.
Yeah,
it's not like they've got another competition to play, though.
That's true, actually. They could just come.
They just get here.
No,
2
they're
weeks
not
early.
allowed to come here now because we've got the international travel restriction.
Are you an Australian citizen? No, I'm Irish. No,
Get
you can't
out.
come in.
Get out. So yeah, it's this. In many ways, this is fun.
Yeah.
But in many ways, it's purely hypothetical because the games may not even go ahead.
And in saying that, as you've said, if this was the team that was going up against the All Blacks, I don't know if this is the same team I'd put up against them.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely wouldn't have Lonergan. And well,
media for you to have a look at if it's easier to see written down. We'd love you to put your teams on social
that'd be
media as
great.
well. So hit us up on there, and yeah. Anything else to say about this one, Andy?
just one of the things I've really been enjoying is getting some feedback and kind of input from the listeners.
Yeah.
We love getting messages on WhatsApp and through the different social media channels as well.
We've had a few this week, which is
So,
awesome.
yeah, and some possible kind of just opportunities to expand what we're doing here in the pod that are coming through. So we're really, really excited for the engagement that we're getting. So can I just say thank you for listening. And thank you for, if you have, spreading the word about who we are, what we do, and the fun that we're trying to have and bring
exactly. It's
to
awesome.
kind of Australian rugby. We would love for you to kind of share, again, what we're doing, invite your friends or family to listen, because the more the merrier of this little fun community that we're getting
that's
along.
it. More pick and drive, the better.
Exactly. Anything on your end, mate?
No, I think you've said everything brilliantly. Yeah, so just thank you for the support. We've got the social media platforms there. Please feel free to reach us. We love to hear from you. We'd love to hear what your teams are, and maybe we'll see this week what happens with this national competition, but we would love to get your thoughts around what you'd like to see happen if potentially we could bring in some new laws, trial some new things, and how we'd love to hear what you think about the Force coming back into Super Rugby, or in some capacity. So yeah, thanks guys.
Well, that's been fun. Thanks so much.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Pick and Drive Rugby Podcast. You can follow us on social media at the following outlets. Follow our Facebook page at Pick and Drive Rugby Podcast. Send us a tweet at pick_drive rugby. Follow our Instagram at pick_drive_rugby. Or send us an email at pickanddriverugby@gmail.com. We'd love to hear any questions or feedback you may have, so get in touch. Thanks again for listening, and we'll catch you next week.